why men are leaving relationships today?
No one wants to fuck anymore. Seriously. No one wants to make out.
After talking to hundreds of you guys, I've realized something that I need to get off my chest.
Men don't want to get laid.
Ladies are not happy with us men.
Have you noticed that more men seem to be stepping away from the dating scene instead of chasing it? Why are so many people surprised that some men are choosing purpose, peace, and independence over constantly seeking romantic validation? Stay with us until the end of this video because today's discussion explores one of the biggest conversations surrounding modern dating in 2026. Whether you agree or disagree, this trend is changing how many people view relationships.
After talking to hundreds of you guys, I've realized something that I need to get off my chest. It is the men who are actually trying to save the relationships here, not the women. And what's crazy is that most of the women I've actually talked to and had consultation with tell me that their husbands are the ones sending them my videos, and that says everything. 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women. That is not trying to fix a marriage. That is walking away from it. Most women threaten divorce long before they're ever ready to file. They use it as leverage until the man finally hits his breaking point and says, "I'm done." And once he does say, "I'm done," that's when the gaslighting starts. She flips the script, plays the victim, promises to change, cries, manipulates, you name it. Anything to pull him back in because the control is slipping from her end. But when a man truly checks out, it's not loud, it is quiet, and it is final, and you've lost him. When a good man walks away, it is not because he stopped caring. It's because he cared too long and nobody met him halfway. So if you're watching this, man or woman, ask yourself, are you really trying to build your relationship and save it? Or are you slowly tearing it apart while you're convincing yourself that you're the one being wronged?
For a long time, many men believed they had to prove themselves through dating success. The more attention they received, the more valuable they felt. That mindset shaped an entire generation.
Men don't want to get laid because I made a video saying that women need to sleep around more, parenthesis, because you need to discover that this D ain't that special. Anyway, but like, if you sleep around more men get laid, right? And there are still men in the comment section going, "Don't listen to her, girls. Don't listen to her." And it's like, sir, are you trying to keep your homeboys to yourself or what's going on?
Now the conversation is changing. A growing number of men are saying that fulfillment comes from building a meaningful life first, with relationships becoming a choice rather than the ultimate goal.
Calling all the men who think their wives have gone insane. Your wife is probably between the age of 35 and 45. She has no libido. She has no interest in being intimate with you. In fact, you breathe wrong. You smell wrong. You're doing everything wrong. She has no motivation. She's tired all of the time, not just as an excuse at night, but literally tired all the time she's taking naps. She never did that before. You're wondering, where did my wife go? She doesn't participate in any of the hobbies that used to light her up. You don't remember the last time you have seen her lit up. She complains a lot about her body aching. She's taking a lot of ibuprofen, maybe a little extra wine. She just feels and looks meh. And it doesn't seem like any amount of romance, helping around the house, motivation, nothing you do is helping. Maybe you're even already going to marriage counseling because she thinks it's you. She probably already went to her doctor and asked for help with libido and her tiredness and all of it. And her doctor probably said, it's probably your marriage. And so then she came home and signed you up for marriage counseling. Or maybe I'm talking to the man that it's too late and you're hearing this after you've been separated or divorced. This is perimenopause. It is destroying relationships because nobody, no doctors, not the women and not the men, know that this is happening, and everyone is blaming the husband and the relationship. So I want to hear your story. Share in the comments what has been going on. Did you know about perimenopause? Does all of this sound like your wife? Let's figure it out together.
Instead of spending every weekend chasing dates, many men are investing in their careers, businesses, fitness, and financial security. Their attention has shifted toward long-term stability instead of short-term excitement.
You want to know why men are leaving relationships today? Because you became his biggest source of stress. Men are going to leave relationships when women become the biggest stress factor in their goddamn life. The reality of it is right now is that ladies out there, you're telling yourself a comforting lie. You're calling him a narcissist, an abuser, that he was treating you badly, that he was cheating, he was checking out other women, he was doing all of these things. But the reality of it is, you became his biggest source of stress. He came home to nagging and drama. He came home to someone that was never happy with anything that he did. He came home to someone that was consistently belittling him, putting him down, and mentally draining every ounce of him, while still having to worry about the bills and everything else that needed to be met. His work, his family, his friends, being the source of income for plenty of people around him, and at the same time being told that anything he did wasn't good enough, and if he spoke up, it wasn't fair what he said. Don't be his stress.
Social media has accelerated this change. Men are constantly exposed to stories about self-improvement, discipline, and financial freedom, encouraging them to focus inward before looking outward.
Oh boy, I think it's safe to say the ladies are not happy with us men, especially those of you who've headed overseas.
Can we have a serious conversation about the LBHs, passport bros, like whatever you want to call them?
A conversation? Sure, but seriously, what's the problem? Though I suspect there really isn't one. Well, at least not one that men need to concern themselves about, but go ahead.
I just don't understand how the most basic level men can leave America, travel to these other countries, and just pull absolute tens, like the hottest girls that you will ever see.
How is it happening? Oh, sweetie, that one's easy. Because you see, in other countries, the women aren't like you and most women in the U.S. You know, completely shallow, off the charts delusional. In fact, so far off the deep end mentally, you'd need 2 lifeguards to get back. That is the reality for most of you women in the United States now. You're shallow and judge people by their looks, and only their looks. Whereas overseas, those women value men for who they are as a person, not just what they look like. Not to mention they haven't completely deluded themselves into thinking they're somehow super hot 10s when at best they're mids themselves. And that's after they've speckled on so much fake-up, the EPA is considering listing their bathroom as a hazardous waste site.
One of the biggest surprises is how comfortable many of these men seem. They are no longer treating being single as a personal failure, but as an opportunity to build the life they actually want.
When a man goes to silence, the female body experiences chemical stress similar to hunger or a threat to survival. 1. A woman's psyche is tuned for connection. A woman's brain is especially sensitive to emotional distance. When a man goes silent, the same brain areas activate as during physical pain. For her, silence is not peace, it's a signal of danger. 2. Silence is perceived as a threat. From an evolutionary point of view, loss of connection meant isolation from the tribe and therefore a risk of death. That's why the body reacts with a release of cortisol. Even short-term ignoring in messages can trigger a strong hormonal spike. 3. The body reacts like it's starving. UCLA studies showed that when a woman feels emotionally disconnected, her body activates the same chemical processes as during hunger. That's why anxiety, clinginess, and irritability appear. The body asks for a dose of closeness. 4. A woman doesn't lose control. She's surviving. Rapid heartbeat, chest tightness, tension in the stomach. It's not drama, it's chemistry. Her body literally fights to restore connection because for the brain, closeness equals safety. 5. Men often don't realize the scale of the reaction. For him, silence is a way to be alone, to process emotions. For her, it feels like he's gone, disappeared, stopped existing. The brain perceives it as the loss of stability, hence the fear, panic, and fight for contact. 6. It's not weakness, it's biology. A woman isn't overreacting. She's losing the signal of safety. Her body triggers measurable reactions. Increased cortisol, lower serotonin, disturbed sleep. It's natural biochemistry, not emotional weakness. 7. Silence destroys trust. When it happens repeatedly, the brain creates an association: love equals danger, and every next distance causes even more anxiety. That's how emotional dependency forms. Even short pauses feels like a breakup. 8. A woman doesn't need words, she needs presence. She doesn't need explanations. She wants to feel the man is still there, even in silence, that he's not disconnecting. This activates oxytocin and reduces stress more effectively than any apology. 9. Understanding this is the key to harmony. When a man knows how her biochemistry works, he stops seeing her reactions as too emotional. He learns to give what truly heals: stability, connection, peace. That's what real maturity looks like. Write connection in the comments and I'll share how you can calm your nervous system and restore your inner safety even when he goes silent. And if this resonated deeply with you, DM me. I love connecting personally and holding space for women one-on-one.
As this mindset spreads, dating begins to look different. Many men are becoming far more selective about who they spend their time with and what kind of relationships they are willing to pursue.
No one wants to fuck anymore. Seriously. No one wants to make out. No one wants to flirt. Everyone's tired, anxious, and touch-starved. So I wrote this Substack essay about how we're in a sexual recession and what's causing that. And see, women are some of the most educated, employed, and financially stable generation of women yet. So we don't need men for survival. If we're in partnership, it's because we want to be in partnership. And that is definitely impacting the way that dating, relationships, hookup culture, situationship culture is happening in Gen Z right now. Men have been told by their fathers, grandfather, society that they are focused on providing for their women and their families. And I think now that Gen Z women can support themselves financially, we don't need men to provide for us. We definitely want them to, for sure, but we don't need them. We're focused more on equal partnerships and men that can show up emotionally available and be attuned to us. And unfortunately, I don't think the men are catching up, and this is causing a lot of strife. I think women collectively are realizing that there's not really a point to giving your body to someone that acts like they don't care if you live or die. And on top of that, they're not providing financially. And a part of that is not entirely their fault because the economy that we're in is very difficult. And I think everyone is feeling the effects of that. But it's like, okay, the men are not planning dates. They're not paying for dates. They're not providing anything financially, and then on top of that, you're not emotionally available. Anytime I express myself, it's too much emotional labor, or I'm emotionally high maintenance, and it's like, what is the benefit of me giving myself to you if I get absolutely nothing in return? I think all of this is also contributing to the whole male loneliness epidemic, where men are starting to be decentered. I think women are focused a lot more on themselves, working on their relationships, building their careers, working on their finances, and because of that, men are not needed as much. Now I think women are focused on wanting men and being very intentional about choosing the men in our lives rather than being with men out of survival for financial needs. And on top of that, it's like, again, if you're not contributing to me financially and supporting me, making me the best version of myself, and also you're not contributing emotionally by being in tune with me and listening to me and actually caring about my feelings, it kind of feels like there's no point. It's not entirely the men's fault. It's also the patriarchy and capitalism and all of these systems that have been built to break us down and to divide us. And one of my mutuals, Justin, made a really good point where sex and intimacy is becoming a luxury. If you can't afford to date, if you can't afford to go to therapy, if you were not raised in an environment where you were taught to work on yourselves and to reflect and be empathetic, you are going to be at a disadvantage and you're not going to have the same access to relationships that maybe previous generations have. And I think another big thing as well with our generation is everybody is afraid of vulnerability. Everybody's afraid of intimacy, and that's also contributing to the divide as well. And I'm honestly seeing that in my personal life as well with my friends who are all educated, well-spoken, good head on their shoulders, good people that are beautiful and kind and giving, and even they are in a similar predicament where a lot of people are not in relationships because they don't want to acquiesce to their side, and a lot of people are horny and pent up and have no sort of release because, again, why give yourself to someone that can't contribute to you in some way? But also, people don't want to do the work to be the type of person that can be in a relationship. So where do we go from here? There's a lot that we can't control in this world, but there are things that we can control, and that's how we treat each other. And I think one solution to this would be, I would love if the men would take a step forward and try to become more emotionally available, try to be vulnerable and be comfortable with intimacy. Even if it doesn't necessarily start with the women that you're pursuing, even if that's in your friendships, I think that is an amazing, great first step. Going to therapy, talking about your feelings, getting comfortable, being emotional, because if this continues, the problem is just going to grow more and more, because I don't think that a generation of people who are all pent up and repressed and horny is good for society. So all I want is for people to have great love stories, great relationships, and really great sex.
That change has sparked endless debates online. Some people see it as healthy personal growth, while others believe it is making modern dating even more complicated.
Okay, as women, we got to get this out our heads. The first sign that a man is leaving us is not cheating. It's not yelling, it's not distance, and most of the time, it's not even another woman. The telltale sign is when he stops fighting for the relationship. When he was fighting for the relationship, he would correct, he didn't mind debating or explaining himself. And now he just says, okay, do whatever, I'm good. And unfortunately, we mistake that calmness as him like being okay with everything, but he's actually detached. A man will go back and forth with a woman when he still believes that something is there that's worth fixing. Trust and believe when a man stops defending himself or reacting to disrespect, oh, you better take heed that he is prepping to walk out the door. See, us as women sometimes take all of that patience as that we have won the war, but actually we haven't. A man is going to retreat and then he's going to reallocate himself. I mean, think about it. He pulls his emotions back and starts moving differently. He's more private. He's less expressive. If we really look at it and focus on it, he laughs less, he talks less, and he plans less. He's already set in his plan, so there's no need to argue about it. He just adjusts to his new normal. And once a man adjusts emotionally, he starts to adjust physically and financially. He just starts to focus on himself, his body, his money, his circle of people that are around him. And once everything is in play and the day gets closer for him to leave, and he does, everybody is in shock and don't know where it came from. See, this is where we get slapped in the face. We think silence is stability, but it is a man prepping to say, peace, I'm out the door.
The biggest difference isn't just in behavior, it's in priorities. Men who once chased approval are now asking whether that pursuit truly adds value to their lives.
Men over 50 are almost twice as likely as women to marry out of the West. So these guys are they've exhausted their options in the West or in their town or in their city or even in their country, and they're expanding their dating map. So what's actually even more interesting is that guys are actually they're starting younger doing this too. So like guys who are in their 20s and 30s are like, I'm not even going to start like dating in my community. I'm going to look abroad first, which is kind of insane to me. Like, you got to test the waters first before you even go out there.
This doesn't mean relationships no longer matter. It means many men now expect relationships to complement the life they have already built instead of becoming the center of it.
Guys, listen, dating is changing and women are finally feeling it. Like, women are finally feeling it. Listen, the past 10 years, oh yeah, they had their pick of the litter. Guys were sending direct messages, guys were double and triple texting, guys were doing everything and anything to get a response back or to set up a date. Guys were actually actively initiating dates and trying to actually pursue and create relationships. And what happened? Women didn't want none of them. So now what's happened? Men have quit. Men don't approach. Men don't double text. Men don't do anything anymore. Men just build their purpose. Men just keep building their finances. Men just keep going back to the gym, and men have quit. Because what happens is you now have an entire generation of men that think they're unattractive. You have an entire generation of men that believe they're either not worthy or they're unattractive or that women just naturally don't want them. You know, you see all this stuff like, oh, women would rather have a relationship with their dog or an animal or a bear in the wild than they would a man, and all this stuff. Okay, that's what they wanted. That's what they claimed they wanted. Here we are. What you're going to actually notice, what's going to happen is women are going to most likely start within the next couple of years sending more choosing signals. Women are most likely going to start to pick up the phone and initiate phone calls first. Or what you're even going to see is women just might start even approaching first, because that's what we have actually came to now, is men have completely just quit. Some would say for good reason.
Whether this trend continues or fades, one thing is difficult to ignore. More men are redefining success on their own terms, and that shift is influencing conversations about dating across the internet.
All I want to know is, where are the blue-collar men when they're not at work? Because they're rarely at the bar, they're not on Hinge, like, I can't find them anywhere. Sometimes at Buffalo Chip, but that's about it.
They're either on their way to work and they've stopped at a convenience store, or they are just chilling at home, enjoying their peace. Also, maybe resting in bed because his entire body hurts.
So here's the real question. If more men continue choosing purpose, financial growth, and peace of mind before romance, Will modern dating adapt, or will the gap between expectations continue to grow?
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.